So there's an interesting one. So they've got number 2725 Bolton Street, and then it leads on to 21A19. So what did used to be in this little gap? Was this a building, a previous house before? Hey, look, yeah, this is just the rear of the police station. Amazing. And welcome back to a brand new video. So in the south side, I'm gonna have a bit of a look on some of the hotels, because there's been an awful lot of work being carried out on some of them. Just move the camera just to the right, and the stretch all the way from Pablo's Fish and Chips all the way right down the seafront. So we're gonna have a bit of a walk around, just see what's new with some of these. Come and join me. So we're just coming up to the Viking Hotel, which is situated just on the corner, and this is well over a century old, and like I said, it dates back to the early 1900s when Blackpool was flourishing. It looks like they've got a bit of a screen there, you can see. Yeah, this one, the Viking Hotel, it's got a great reputation as well. That's well over 100 years old, this one. And so the Queen's Hotel is another well-established hotel, and it was originally built during the 1800s. And again, it was a time when Blackpool was rapidly expanding and growing, and seeing more and more people come into this this wonderful place. You can just see, you know, with the architecture on the windows. And this one again gets very, very busy, and that's the Queen's Hotel, South Promenade. And then we've got the holiday apartments, Ansy Pansy, look at that one. And just to the right, let's move the camera just to the right. Have you ever tried this one? If you're into your steaks and things like that, there's it's sort of tucked away a little, and it's called the Steakhouse. You can't really miss it because they've got a huge like metal cow right above. And apparently that's a great one to go for a bit of an evening meal. And just see with like the you can see all like the clear glass, like that extension, what they put on there, and that'll be a fantastic one, the Steakhouse. So just on the corner of Waterloo Road, and this is where the joke shop moved to. And it originally was on Central Drive for many years ago, until the building was demolished, and there it is. And just around the corner, in fact, we'll have a quick look at the old Woolworths while here, because last time it was a car park, and there's the old joke shop just there. And they got the famous ice cream shop just along this stretch as well, which is situated again just on the corner of Waterloo Road. There it is. And they've got this wonderful like blinds, you can see, with the logo on. Fantastic, that one. So this is where the old Woolworths Hearts store was, and when they was demolishing this, they found all sorts, old Christmas decorations, many sort of little treasures from years ago. But you can see now, all that remains is a car park in its place. And another great one, it's a bit underrated, this one, it's the Dutton Arm, just on the corner of Waterloo Road, and it also sells local beer. Another fantastic one. So what we'll do, we'll just move on a little more. We'll have a bit of a look at some of the hotels around this area. And I've said many a times, you're never stuck for fish and chips in Blackpool. It's literally every sort of 4 or 5 shops, you know, you can grab your fish and chips. But I guess each person has got the favourite. So we're gonna have a bit of a look, a bit more heading towards the north side. So this is just at the back of Yates, and development and a big refurb is already commencing. So what they've been doing is ripping everything out of this one. So I'd imagine, you know, in the forthcoming months, probably going to take quite a long time, this one is going to look absolutely fantastic. And that's just on the Yates. So just going back to the promenade itself, and let me know if you ever stayed in any of these. We've done these many a times, these hotels, and looks like the Blue Waves is not too sure what's happened with that one. Looks like there's possibly some work going on with that. And we've got the Lindell also up this way. Plenty of massive hotels along, what's this, the new Brooklyn. Looks like they're selling things in the window, like sort of the old Seedles, all sorts. Look at that. So a quick look at this one. Look at that. So you can actually see they're selling various like soft toys. That's an unusual one. So this one is the Coastal Bay Hotel, and it looks like they're having an absolute huge clear out with this one. You can see there's all sorts outside, a massive rip out. And it looks like before it had a beauty salon, spray tans, hair salon. How often do you get this sort of hair salon in a hotel? Hot tub, sunbed, fat freezing. What's all that about? And you can see they're having an absolutely massive clear out with this one. And let's hope, you know, it comes up, it scrubs up to its former glory. Look at that, the Coastal Bay Hotel. Let me know if you ever stayed in this one. Massive refurb. What's going on with this? So just walking even further down again, you got all the good ones, you know, on the beach apartments, Oakwell, the Sanford Hotel. You got many, you know, really sort of great ones. And a lot of these are like sort of self-contained apartments, you know, where you just sort of go in and you have like a bit of a flat rather than actual hotels. And again, you know, you have got some hotels along this way, and the Royal Carlton, that's subject to a huge regeneration project, and they've been at that for some time. So we'll have a bit of a look around. You can see all the scaffolding up, and that's going to look really posh and swish once that is fully opened. And that's the Royal Carlton. And this is a fantastic feature. You can just see on the towards the middle of the screen now. And that's the old lift shaft, and how wonderful is that, you know, coming up or down, looking over at the promenade. So again, we'll keep our eyes on this one. This is going to scrub up really well. And that leads us nicely on to the New Lords Hotel. And you can see what a sad state this was, or shall I say is. And there used to be an old coach, all sorts of rubbish, everything. So they have cleaned a lot of the rubbish up from the front, but you know, once the Royal Carlton is complete, that's going to look really nice. But then, you know, literally next door, the New Lords Hotel is a bit of a bad one. Let's hope, you know, they find some decent owners for this one. So just a bit of an update on the St Chad's former hotel, and that was right sort of opposite. And you can see nothing has happened with that one. It's all boarded up, and looks like there's car park spaces, actually designated car park spaces here, just beyond the actual hotel where it was. So there's nothing happened with that one as of yet. So let's move the camera to the left, and we can just sort of coming into focus the Blackpool Tower. It looks so small from this distance, but what a day today. So I think what we'll do is have a bit of a walk down Bolton Street, and this is just one street off the promenade. We've come down here many times, and there's some fantastic little old buildings, all sorts around this area. And what you see now on the right side of all these are all the back of the huge hotels, guest houses, and holiday apartments. And that's just the back of the Royal Carlton. So we'll continue down on, like I said, you know, down these streets. It does actually get narrower, Bolton Street, as you come further and further down. And you know, once these streets, you know, you used to see an awful lot of life. And just to the left, you've got the residential houses. So people, you know, still live, you know, on this street. How times have changed. And this one, you can just see, this one used to be Wayman Memorial School back in its day. How amazing is that? So like I said, you know, a lot of these buildings do tell fascinating stories. And the Wayman Memorial School was actually founded in 1913, and it was an effort to provide better educational opportunities for children in Blackpool. That's amazing. Like I said, it's well over, was it 114 years ago? Absolutely amazing. You can imagine this on this very quiet street nowadays, being a school, how times have changed. So again, just continuing down this old street in Blackpool, and there's plenty. I think this used to be like a storage place back in its day. So there is, some huge buildings along here, and that's Adrian Street. So we won't go down Adrian Street. There's a lovely old building which used to be a school, and I've been trying to find out many a times what that used to be called. And apparently a couple of the sisters who went to the school and worked at the school, they used to live just in a couple of cottages just to the left hand side, and that's Adrian Street. So there's an interesting one. So they've got number 2725 Bolton Street, and then it leads on to 21A19. So what did used to be in this little gap? Was this a building, a previous house before? It looks like it was. So, was that subject to a fire possibly? There we go. So number 23 Bolton Street has disappeared from the records. So there we go, on Bolton Street we've got the Sun Inn, and it looks like work is going on with that one. So they're doing a bit of painting or pointing perhaps, and that's the Sun Inn just near Yates. So as we continue further down, we've got little amusements on the left hand side, and again this just leads to Waterloo Road. And it's a very quiet one this morning. It is quite early on a Sunday, so it is pretty quiet out here. Look at that one, that's still going. Got the Lancaster ink. And again, there used to be wonderful little shops along here, and all of Bond Street, which is straight ahead, that used to be thriving with life many years ago, and this is subject to huge regeneration projects. And you can just see there's the little shoe market just on the corner. So this is Price Street, and another massive building. I wonder what this used to be back in its day, and it looks like this one has seen better days. But each one of these buildings, tells a huge tale of what once was in the iconic Blackpool. Absolutely amazing, just learning more and more about the history. And this is just at the back of the old Woolworths, and again it's a little residential area. There's looks like a lot of these properties just to the left aren't being lived in. But yeah, it's amazing. Like I said, all the different colours as well. You don't normally see that nowadays, They're all like the same colours, but around some of the back streets, every house has got a different colour. Pinks, purples, yellows, oranges. And it is amazing, like I said, when you do start walking down these streets, what you do come across. And just on Montague Street in Blackpool, who would have thought this was home to a former police station, a quiet back street? How amazing is that? And it's a two-storey building, and it's based on a sort of 17th century domestic style. You can see it's featuring that red brick, and back in 2019 it was intended for redevelopment and part of the larger regeneration plan, and it was put up for sale, like I said, by Lancashire Police in 2019. It actually includes a briefing room as well. So how unusual is that one? So this is just round the rear of the police station, and like I said, this was put up for sale 6 years ago, and apparently they still use it, which is quite interesting, whether it's like sort of training days, things like that. But yeah, this is just the rear of the police station. Amazing. And that's a wonderful little cottage. That's called the Old Coach House. I'm not too sure on the history of that one. And directly in front, that leads to Bond Street. But there's some wonderful little places, like I said, just in between Bond Street and Montague Street. Look at that. Absolutely, incredible. Look really, really well. So that is the end of today's video. Like I said, just a bit of a look at some of the hotels which are being rejuvenated along the promenade, and a bit of a trip down memory lane. So don't forget, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification button, you'll be notified of all the upcoming videos. And until next time, make sure you take care, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. It's a bye from me. Bye bye.